You are very welcome to this Day 2 Cheltenham Festival preview here with us on Festival Focus, where, if you haven't already seen our Day 1 preview for Tuesday, I'd strongly urge you to do exactly that and go and check it out, because in exactly the fashion he's about to do now, Grand National winning rider and my usual co-pilot, David Mullins, has marked your card for the opening day of the Cheltenham Festival. And with that in the bag, what, David Mullins, are you looking forward to on Wednesday? And just before we do get into the nitty-gritty of the 7 races, I did just want to ask you, if you could only attend on one of them, or perhaps ride on one of them, which one would it be and why? Which is your favourite day at Cheltenham?
Oh, it has to be the Tuesday. It just kicks off everything, doesn't it? There's only one amateur race. The rest are proper grade ones, and the Boodles is on Tuesday now as well. But they're the proper exciting races you want to see and want to be in.
Unbelievable discrimination against amateur riders and all other enthusiasts like me who'd be wobbling around at the back if they were taking part. No, we joke, but it is a mighty day's racing, the Tuesday, as is the Wednesday, where we're going to get stuck in because they kick off at 1:30 with the Ballymore Novices hurdle. The way we teed it up yesterday, it's the same format. Effectively, if you were riding at the meeting, David, and you could only choose one horse to be on board, who would it be at 1:30 in the Ballymore, and why?
I'd pick Hermes, Tom. I thought he was very good this season. I think he's more of a racehorse than Paul Nicholls would normally have going for this race. Normally, he has chasers going for these kind of races, and they just don't suit fast hurdle types, the likes that Willie bring over in Gordon. Hermes Allen, he looks slick and he looks the ideal candidate for a novice hurdle. So for me, it's him. In Perrier Pass, he's very highly talked up. I'm just not going to buy it. I wasn't blown away with him by him in the Moscow Flyer hurdle. Good Land is solid, but I just don't think he's going to have the same class as Hermes Allen and possibly in Perrier Pass. But Hermes Allen has ticked all the boxes for me so far.
Well, so potentially a British train winner to start the day. What about 2:10, the Brown Advisory Novices Chase, where we learned on the 6-day forfeit stage on Thursday that a certain Adamantly Chosen added to the race at the supplementary stage. Once again, given the choice, having seen the entries at the 6-day forfeit stage, who would you like to be on?
You'd have to go with Gerri Colombe. He's done nothing wrong over fences. He's done nothing wrong over hurdles or in bumpers either. But it's going to be a bit of a step up. But I think this could be a bit of a weak race. I know Willie's supplemented, Adamantly Chosen. He's had good form. He has been beaten by Gerri Colombe. I wonder, is the race going to cut up? We're not going to see Ramillies or Galliard de Menil, a few others. Mighty Potter's also still in the betting. And you just wonder, would Willie be thinking about the turners for Sir Gerhard? It's a funny race that Willie has decided to supplement, or the owners have Adamantly Chosen, and it just could cut up. And I think Gerri Colombe is a good price at the minute. I'd be eager to get on at them prices.
Well, he looked very good at Sandown Park, didn't he? So he's got experience of coming to England and winning Grade 1s. We move on to 2:50, the appetizer for the big race of the day, and alongside the likes of the Fred Winter, the Boodles Juvenile, and indeed the Pertemps. This is another one of those big field, almost impossible handicaps. It's the Coral Cup, 2 miles and 5 furlongs. Or is it impossible? Who would you ride?
I'd probably go with either Beacon Edge or San Salvador. They're classy horses. Mikey O'Sullivan has been booked, I think, for Beacon Edge already by Jigginstown and Noel Mead. He's a Grade 1 winner over fences. He has a lot of ability. It's not a Coral where something I think is going to jump out, and there's nothing in the betting that looks unexposed. I don't think it's going to be a shock whatever wins it this year. The form is going to be there. It's not going to be a State Man or one of these sort of novices coming through the ranks and on their way up. I think it's going to be a horse who's possibly just found a nice mark after going through a tough period or something like that. So Mikey O'Sullivan, if I could claim 5 still, it'd be Beacon Edge.
Beacon Edge minus £5 for David Mullins. On we go to the big race on the Wednesday. And for some people, this is the elite spectacle of the Cheltenham Festival because, of course, the cream of the 2-mile chasers streaming around Cheltenham at high speed. 3:30, the Queen Mother Champion Chase. who ideally would be your mount?
Oh, I think I'd have to stick with Gentleman to me. I thought he was very good at Christmas. I think he's a real spring horse. Or sorry, at Dublin Racing Festival. He's a real spring horse. I know he's very keen at home, and I think he still rides out on his own. And possibly when horses ride out on their own, they don't get as fit as others. They don't be racing every morning against other horses. So I'm putting his first two ordinary runs this season down to that. And he's probably a top of the ground horse as well when the ground starts getting nicer in the spring. So I just think there's a lot of question marks over it. I think he's the value bet if you were betting, and I think with the form with Edwardstone, for me, he's probably the one you'd have to ride as well.
Fascinating, very, very interesting answer. From the speed test at the Queen Mother Champion Chase to the long distance marathon over those idiosyncratic hedges and banks and fences of the Glenfarclas cross country chase, 3 3/4 miles. It's a unique test. It's a brilliant race to watch. Would it be a brilliant race to ride in, depending on who you were on board? Who would it be? Because this is a very tricky choice at the front of the market. Advantage one stable in particular, but who would it be? I won't prejudice your answer.
Oh, I don't know. You're probably going to have to give it to Gordon Elliott again this year, but it's a race I never had any desire to ride in or anything like that. It just never tickled my fancy for some reason. I don't know why.
Did you on any occasion?
Never rode in at Punchestown, never in a pint in a Banks race, or Cheltenham. So no. Listen, I probably should have done it. Would have been another box tick, but it's a race I don't put much thought into. Delta Work, Galvin, Franco de Port, grade one horses like, and they're running cross country races. I'd be, I think there's plenty of other grade ones if I had those horses where I'd be going with them.
Well, that sounds like the fence is creaking under the weight of a man sitting on it right now. But what I will just say is, folks, if you're absolutely desperate for a selection to go in the play spot on the day, Galvin is a year younger than his stablemate Delta Work. Yes, he's got to prove his adaptability over these fences, but his festival record is frankly extraordinary. And bear in mind, this time last year, he was picking up place money in the Gold Cup itself. So Galvin at 9 years of age might very well be a revelation in the cross country. On we go to another of these tricky handicaps. How do you weigh up if your agent's phone was ringing with a spare for the Grand Annual of 450? Which one would it be, ideally?
It'd probably be Dad's Lad. He's Cheltenham farm. He travels, he jumps. I know the horse. I used to ride him out a bit in Willie's. He's that sort of a horse. He had an ordinary enough start to his career, probably out of weakness. And he really came to himself. He has an ordinary run in the good handicap hurdle in Cheltenham in January. I can't think of the name now. The Shunter won it a few years ago. It has me anyway. But he does like Cheltenham. He is a real 2-miler. Dino Blue is another one. She's a very attractive mark, but I just don't know if she, when it comes down to it, after getting over the last, I don't think we're going to see her battling out a tough finish against some of these hardy 2-mile handicappers. And Dad's Lad is one of them. So for me, he's for me.
All good. Now, if you've been watching the Festival Focus series, there have been some really fascinating bumper performances, some of which David Mullins has said that would be right up my alley. Some of them you've been very quick to dismiss, including a horse who changed hands for presumably a fairly handsome sum of money, trained by John Kiley, formerly owned by the Gleasons, now in the care of JP McManus and favourite for the race. And yet you weren't overly impressed by the favourites. I think, I sense, but I don't know, you would prefer one of the Willie Mullins contingent. Which ride would be for you in the Champion Bumper at 5:30?
Not that I wasn't impressed with him. He's done everything you couldn't ask any more from a dream to share, or sorry, a dream to it is a dream to share, isn't it, or a dream to me?
Oh, yeah.
He has been impressive. I do like him, but I just think he's kind of more flatbread and up the hill after going a gallop. I think we're going to see a funny winner, and I think it's going to be Queen's Gamble. I think she's a massive price. She's proven she stays around that track. It's not for big 3-milers really, even though the likes of Willie has won it with Champagne Fever, Fernie Hollow, and those sort of horses. But I think that could be just kind of the Willie Mullins touch. So for me, I'm going to stick with Queen's Gamble, and that's basically on the fact that we don't know what Patrick's going to ride yet. If Patrick, normally every year there's a horse there jumping out of Patrick Mullins, we all know what he's going to ride. This year he thought Fun should probably go for entry, but now she's in the bumper. She looks like an intended runner. I think there's a lot of confusion of where the best one is, and I don't think that's a good sign. So for me, Queen's Gamble is the one.
Queen's Gamble, the one at a nice price as well for the champion bumper. That rounds off, folks, our day 2 preview for the Cheltenham Festival of 2023. We will distill it down to one name as something like a strongest mount, pick, choice of the day, whatever you want to call it, because just as we did on day 1, David Mullins, if you could only ride one horse on the second day of the Cheltenham Festival, mindful, you've told us Hermes Allen, Gerri, Colombe, Beacon Edge, Gentleman de Me, Dad's Lad and Queen's Gamble. If there was just one ride on the card, it would be
Gerri Colombe. For me, it's a steering job. I think you'll win on Tom.
Now that is debatable. What's not debatable, folks, is that we will be back in the same space very, very soon with our day 3 and 4 preview. Good luck, whatever you're backing on the second day. Thanks for watching Festival Focus. Back very soon.